Known for its fashion style and flair, hip-hop star A$AP Rocky is now facing years behind bars, potentially. His trial is what's trending in true crime this morning as the 36-year-old turned down a sweetheart deal on the eve of his jury selection. Rocky's real name is Rakim Mayers, and he declined a final offer from Los Angeles prosecutors to spend 180 days in jail. The agreement also included a 7-year suspended sentence and 3 years of probation, but he said no way. The Grammy-nominated rapper is accused of shooting a former friend of his near a Hollywood hotel back in 2021. And so now, if he is convicted, he's looking at a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison. So let's talk about the fact that he turned down the deal. What does it say about the case that Rocky rejected that plea offer? Let's bring in our legal eagles now, former prosecutor and now criminal defense attorney Franz Borchardt and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt are with us. Good morning to you both. All right, what does it say about Rocky? Jennifer, your thoughts, please.
I think it says that Rocky believes that he's innocent. I mean, he says that he was carrying a prop gun, a fake gun, and he didn't shoot anybody, he didn't do anything, and I think he really believes that, because otherwise he probably would have taken the deal, faced with a potentially 24-year sentence, I believe. So it was a good deal, but if you're innocent, then why take a deal at all?
Exactly, Jennifer. Franz, to you next, please. What does it say to you?
So allow me to take the other side of the coin on this one. He needs to really reconsider that decision, rejecting that deal. He is facing some significant jail time, and I don't doubt that he has faith in a system that he believes will not convict an innocent person. And he may, in fact, be truly innocent. He may have, in fact, have a wonderful defense, but 180 days with some suspended time over your head versus possibly spending decades in jail. This is the high stakes table, Julie, and I get really nervous when we start rejecting deals that involve days and we're facing consequences that involve decades. So I don't know if he's making the right decision on this one.
Great point, Franz. You know, and Franz, another follow-up, I mean, you know this well from the criminal practice that you have, big difference between a jail. You know, jail's generally less than a year's time. You're going to go into jail. If it's more than a year, you're going to go to a prison. Prison versus jail, ooh, that's a big difference too, isn't it?
Well, so spending 2 decades or up to 2 decades in a Department of Corrections in California, we'll call that a life-altering experience. 180 days, and here's the other question, is 180 days, or is it a percentage of the 180 days? So he might be jockeying to see if the deal gets better, Julie. And sometimes, and look, let's be honest, sometimes the deal does get better at the eve of trial. But this deal seems pretty darn good. And so maybe the calculus really is he's innocent and I can't plead guilty to something I didn't do. But sometimes as a defense attorney, the worst conversations I have to have is about the fact that you may in fact be innocent, but this is such a good deal. You know, how are you going to feel if you get convicted as an innocent person and are waiting for an appeal that may not happen? And a new trial that may not happen, and you're spending decades in prison, and you could have been home in 180 days. Oh.
Right. No, great points. Jennifer, let me go back to you because I'm in agreement with you. When I heard about this, I had 2 thoughts. I thought, well, it's either one, he didn't do this. And so he's, saying, you know what, not me, it wasn't me, I'm going to go to trial, prove your case. Or it was he knows there are flaws in the case if he did do it. I'm not saying he did, but I want to talk to you about those flaws. So, Jen, tell me what you think about this. I was doing some research and read that while there is surveillance video, the shooter can't be identified. The shooter's apparently wearing a dark hoodie and face is covered. There's no way to say this was Rocky if it was him. And then the other thing, the spent cartridge casings that were fired at this man who was formerly friends with him were collected by the case victim and turned over to police. So those 2 things right there, when I read that, I thought, oh, I might roll the dice too. What do you think?
You're right. And I think that also the video, there was no sound on the video, so you couldn't hear any gunshots or see any flashes from a muzzle. So, I mean, he has that working in his favor. I think he'll have witnesses that'll come forward that say he didn't shoot anybody. And the victim didn't come forward right away either. Came forward much later. So I think those are some flaws in the case that, you know, did this really happen? I mean, they had a disagreement over, I believe, ASAP Rocky paying certain expenses for a funeral, which he ultimately paid. So I think he feels pretty confident that, you know, he will survive these charges, that it will go away. I agree, you know, there are serious consequences, you know, that he faces, but this defense also came recently. So maybe he is, you know, throwing this up now and saying, you know, this is going to be my defense at trial, hoping that maybe prosecutors will relent and maybe he will get a better plea offer, or maybe they'll drop the case. I mean, that's probably unlikely, but I think he feels pretty confident that he's going to beat these charges.
Yeah, really great points, Jennifer. And I like what you said, too, another refresher, the victim didn't come forward right away, also wasn't badly injured, and we thank goodness for that.
Right.
He had his knuckles grazed by the gunfire. So, you know, gosh, that's about as fortunate as one could get when you think about all the people you see in the criminal justice system, you know, who are injured badly in shootings or killed. Pretty darn good. So all of these things are at play in terms of the facts and the deal rejection. Let me turn to something else with you both. I want to ask you about the celebrity factor in this case. So we know that when we have a high-profile case, we can have high-profile attendees. The big question, will Rihanna be there? We don't know. So Rocky's attorney suggested that the megastar, I mean, she's a billionaire, 9-time Grammy winner, beloved. She's got her Fenty Beauty line. She may not attend. It's unlikely, but he didn't say it was a definite no. So we'll see. Rihanna and Rocky have 2 little boys together. They've been a fixture on the red carpets. They're known just as much for their fashion as they are for their music, really. And so they've been someone that reporters and paparazzi have always been looking forward to seeing what they wear since they became public, became an item. So we know 100 prospective jurors brought in for jury selection in Los Angeles County. From the initial 12 who were questioned, 4 of them said they knew who A$AP Rocky is, and 10 of them said they knew who Rihanna is. So how might the celebrity factor play into this? Franz, would you start us off with your thoughts, please?
So celebrity factor could play in any number of ways, but I will tell you a simpler factor that will play in is if his partner, the mother of his children, is not sitting by him or standing by him while he's on trial for these serious charges. I don't care if you know who Rihanna is or not, you're going to notice that, right? And so
point.
she's in a trick. She is in a trick bag because if she shows up, she's a distraction. If she doesn't show up, then does she believe that he actually did it? Does she believe? I mean, look, the common sense answer is she's a billionaire. There's a billion reasons why she may not be at the trial of her children's father. However, man, oh man, if I'm defending him, I want her there because I want her standing by her man, and I want her supporting him. I want family members there because look, at the end of the day, innocent people have people rally behind them. That's what juries think. They think that if you're innocent, people are going to show up and support you. And her not showing up, it's not a celebrity factor thing. It's well, man, the mother of your children's not showing up.
I agree with you, Franz. That's a great point. Okay, so let's take it a step further. So, Jennifer Brandt, let me ask you, please. So let's say, as one of Rocky's lawyers, you're saying it's really important that your wife be there. How do you do that with her in the court? I mean, how do you practically, you know, get her? What are some of the considerations you might go through with Rihanna and then with your fellow members of the legal team?
I know. Well, it's going to be a huge distraction if she's there. And, you know, the judge may impose certain restrictions having her there because, you know, you want to have a trial and be able to conduct business and get the trial over and done with. So I think, you know, having her there's going to be people outside looking for her. possibly paparazzi around. So certainly the trial is going to get heightened visibility with her there. So there's a lot of obstacles having her there. I agree with France that she should be there to support her partner and the father of her children. I think that's, really would be a good message to send to the jury. And I also think, just on the celebrity status issue, I think the fact that he is a celebrity and has a high profile relationship makes it more plausible that he would carry a prop gun, because how many ordinary people would walk around with a prop gun? But somebody like him, who is a celebrity and may want to have that extra protection, or at least seem to have extra protection, I think that plays in really well to his defense as well.
Yeah, I love that point. Jennifer, thank you for that. Well, we're going to continue talking about this. We're just about out of time, but I got to say, if I was one of his lawyers, I'd say do it like Johnny Depp. I mean, he would come to court every day, wouldn't he, like the cat that just ate the mouse? I mean, he was smiling, and there was terrible stuff coming out about him into the case, but the way he carried himself every day is Bob Marley music. He just knew how to work the cameras, the jury, everything. He did a brilliant job, and that confidence in that show really paid off. So we'll see what happens if Rihanna will be there.